This comes to us from Libs of TikTok, and they say, breaking, USAID official and 3 company executives plead guilty in fraud and bribery scheme involving at least 14 contracts worth over $550 million. What? You thought USAID was bad before with the Politico and being in bed with the government and getting all these grants for free just to push propaganda? This is just the tip of the iceberg. Elon Musk even retweeted this, saying as much, saying that there's more to come. This isn't like the end all be all. Like, this is what's scary about it. This is one of many things, one of many dominoes that are about to fall here. USAID official Roderick Watson took bribes, was showered with lavish gifts, including cash, laptops, thousands of dollars in tickets to a suite at an NBA game, a country club wedding, down payments on 2 residential mortgages, cell phones, and jobs for relatives. Holy, must have been a lavish lifestyle for a USAID official. What? In exchange for the bribe payments, Watson influenced the award of contracts by manipulating the procurement process at USAID. And the truth shall set you free. We now see exactly what many of us had speculated for years leading up to this moment. And here it is in writing right now. We got Watson faces a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison, to which I reply, that's it? That's, by the way, that's maximum if convicted and all things line up perfectly and with bad behavior and everything. 15 years, and it's probably one of those low security prisons where they have a Nintendo Wii. They don't have the Switch 2, probably. They got the Wii, maybe a Wii U at the low minimum security prisons where they just chill, 3 square meals a day, get to hang out. Imagine how much more fraud is there. Now, if you're telling me that the max penalty for living the easiest life ever, screwing people over, messing with a process that was put in place to lawfully abide by, and the maximum penalty is 15 years in prison, I feel like the punishment does not match the crime there, especially when you know that nobody ever gets the maximum penalty. You know that that's not going to be what's happens here. We got Roderick Watson on LinkedIn, contract specialist at U.S. Agency for International Development. Remember all those people on street corners yelling about Elon Musk bad and USAID is good? Remember all that stuff? Funny how those people are nowhere to be found now. This is the press release. USAID official and 3 corporate executives plead guilty to decade-long bribery scheme involving over $550 million in contracts. And oh, by the way, when it gets to be that kind of money, you start to lose count of the millions because it's over 550. It's like, how do you even keep track of how much money was laundered and filtered into this person? 2 companies admit criminal liability for bribery scheme and securities fraud. And we have the official post that is just the headline, but this comes to us from the justice.gov Office of Public Affairs. That's the headline I just read. And it says, 4 men, including a government contracting officer for the U.S. Agency of International Development, USAID, and 3 owners and presidents of companies have pleaded guilty for their roles in a decade-long bribery scheme involving at least 14 prime contracts worth over $550 million in U.S. taxpayer dollars. So Roderick Watson's the one we talked about earlier, 57 years old, Woodstock, Maryland, who worked as a USAID contracting officer, pleaded guilty to bribery of public official. Then we got the CEOs of these companies. Walter Barnes, 46, of Potomac, Maryland, who was the owner and president of PM Consult, a consultancy group. Imagine my shock that a consultancy group is involved in the nefarious acts. Strange. Doing business as Vistant, a certified small business under the U.S. Small Business Administration, SBA, contracting program, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery of a public official and securities fraud. Darryl Britt, 64, of Miami City, Florida, who was the owner and president of Apprio Inc. Apprio, a certified small business under SBA contracting program, pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit bribery of a public official. And Paul Young, 62, of Columbia, Maryland, who was the president of a subcontractor to Vistant, which, if you recall, that was this company here. This is now a subcontractor of that company, and this company here, and this company here. So these three people, this is a movie, guys. This is a movie right here. These three people are all in cahoots, working together with their fraudulent businesses, getting together and having basically a money laundering scheme, siphoning money from USAID by giving kickbacks to Roderick Watson to make sure that the money kept flowing. It was a good thing. And no wonder these people are so upset that their good thing got screwed up by people daring to look into what they were doing. In addition, Apprio and Vistant, both of which contracted with USAID, have agreed to admit criminal liability and enter into 3-year deferred prosecution agreements in connection with criminal informants filed today in the District of Maryland. As part of these resolutions, both Apprio and Vistant admitted to engaging in a conspiracy to commit bribery of a public official and securities fraud. The DPAs entered into with Apprio and Vistant require each company to, among other obligations, provide ongoing cooperation with the disclosures to the Justice Department, which almost sounds like the Justice Department wants to make these people informants to lighten their sentence, being like, hey, we know you guys aren't good people. It sounds like almost like a catch me if you can kind of thing. Like, it sounds like you know a lot of people that aren't good people. Maybe we'll lighten the sentence on you if you get us in touch with the other not good people that you're familiar with, so we can find more of these problems. Implement a compliance and ethics program, which, yeah, that's going to do a lot of good. And report to Justice Department regarding remediation and implementation of these compliance measures. The defendants sought to enrich themselves at the expense of American taxpayers through bribery and fraud, says Matthew Galati, head of the Justice Department's criminal division. Their scheme violated the public trust by corrupting the federal government's procurement process. Again, I keep reading through this. This Hollywood doesn't even need to be original. I'm telling you guys, make a movie out of this. Here is your latest script. It's literally written for you. This is perfect. There you go. Anybody who cares about good and effective government should be concerned about the waste, fraud, and abuse in government agencies, including USAID. Those who engage in bribery schemes to exploit the U.S. Small Business Administration's vital economic programs with small businesses, whether individuals or corporations acting through them, will be held to account. Watson was entrusted to serve the interests of the American people, not his own. And his criminal actions for his personal gain undermine the integrity of our public institutions. Yeah, you don't say. Not that people trust the American government these days as far as they can throw it anyways, but seeing stuff like this, I would almost argue, restores a little bit of faith. It makes people realize that now that there's a new administration coming from Trump, really working hard, some could argue, to enact law and order in this country and put it back on the rails, and doing things like this that were all taking place. Again, not trying to make this a political statement, but at the same time, it's like, bro, when all this stuff was happening under Biden's watch and people were raising concerns, being like, it feels like there's a lot of shit going on right now. Where's the accountability? And nobody would do anything. It's it's a relief in a weird way to see stuff start happening where consequences to actions are being consequented to. U.S. Attorney Kelly O'Hayes, District, Maryland. Public trust is a hallmark of our nation's values, so corruption within a federal government agency is intolerable. Oh, you love to hear it. You love to hear it. This office, along with our law enforcement partners, will continue to pursue and prosecute corruption at every level to ensure accountability and protect public trust. Are you guys hiring? Are you guys hiring? Because I would love to be part of this. What can I do? How can I help? Put me in, coach. I live for this shit. Let me find these people. Let's expose the shit out of them. There's not enough being done against these people to prevent them from doing it in the future, though. That's my concern. Odin Darkle says they made this political. Yeah, that's true. Very true. Nobody says test. Test. Anyways, where was I? Corruption in government programs will not be tolerated. Watson abused his position of trust for personal gain while federal contractors engaged in a pay-to-play scheme, said Acting Assistant Inspector General of Investigations Sean Bottery of the USAID Office of Inspector General. USAID OIG is firmly committed to rooting out fraud and corruption within U.S. foreign assistance programs. Today's announcement underscores our unwavering focus on exposing criminal activity, including bribery schemes, by those entrusted to faithfully award government contracts. We appreciate our long-standing partnership with the Department of Justice and holding accountable those who defraud American taxpayers. Stick it in my veins. Love it. So this goes on, I'm telling you, this is the entire script to a movie. Not only does it say who did what they're doing to hold them accountable, but then it also goes into the overview. According to court documents, beginning in 2013, while a USAID contracting officer agreed with Britt to receive bribes in exchange for using Watson's influence to award contracts to Apprio. As a certified small business contracting program which helps socially and economically disadvantaged businesses, Apprio could access lucrative federal contracting opportunities through set-asides and sole source contracts exclusively available to eligible contractors without a competitive bid process. Let me go to the overview here. According to court documents, Barnes & Watson defrauded a licensed small business in furtherance of a bribery scheme by inducing it into executing a credit agreement with Vistant. Through the credit agreement, Barnes caused Vistant to issue stock warrants that, if exercised, would result in SBIC having a 40% equity stake in Vistant. Man, this is like a 5-tier level business situation to pull one over on people. The credit agreement also provided for a $14 million loan to Vistant, from which Barnes could pay himself $10 million dividend. I don't understand when we'll say you get a traffic ticket and you owe what is I haven't gotten a speeding ticket for a while, or not stopping. It's like $450 or $500 for a traffic ticket. If you don't pay that, you get more money charged to you, and they will wait. They will revoke your license. They'll take this, they'll take that, over pennies in the grand scheme. But when you're talking millions upon millions of dollars, apparently it's different. People don't look into anything, don't follow it, don't care about it. It's like, yeah, that's money from the government. Who cares? How does this happen? How does this happen? I'm beside myself. I mean, I'm glad that it was figured out, but at the end of the day, I don't feel that the punishment is fitting the crime. Deferred prosecution agreements. The Justice Department reached its resolution with Apprio based on several factors, including Apprio's credit for clearly accepting responsibility. Yeah, because what are they going to say? No, we didn't do anything, even though literally there's a paper trail for everything. Fully cooperating in the investigation and engaging in timely remedial measures. Based on these factors, the criminal penalty calculated under the U.S. sentencing guidelines reflect a 10% reduction off the bottom of the applicable guidelines fine range pursuant to the Criminal Division Corporate Enforcement and Voluntary Self-Disclosure Policy, CEP, according to court documents. Apprio agreed that the appropriate criminal penalty based on the law and facts in this case is $51 million. However, Apprio also met its burden of establishing an inability to pay the criminal penalty sought. Well, because they laundered the money. What are they going to say? Oh, yeah, we took all that money, and now we don't know what happened to it. No offshore bank accounts, no money in these guys' mattresses. It's just all gone. Based on the Justice Department's independent analysis, determined paying a criminal penalty to civil settlement greater than $500,000 would substantially threaten the continued viability of Apprio. Good. Why is Apprio even viable in the first place? Disassemble it. Take it down. End the company. Accordingly, the Justice Department determined that the appropriate resolution of this case is a DPA and a payment of $500,000. So these people stole over $55 million. And they're getting fined $500,000. Yeah, all right, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, of course. So at least something is happening, but still, at the end of the day, it's not enough. And this again was retweeted by Elon Musk saying there's much more to come. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But with that being said, we'll wait for the next one to happen, and we will definitely be here, front row seat to cover it. But I'll leave that there.